Hello there, my name is Yasset Haji Cabrejo Murcia and this is my learning path in English. So I'm going to talk about my progress, my challenges and my goals as a future English teacher. So let's start. So the first question, how would you describe your current English level compared to when you started your degree? Well, I think my English is better now than when I started, for sure. At the beginning, I only knew basic things, and I remember that I felt really nervous when I had to speak, like I used to translate everything in my head first, and that made me lose a lot of time. Also, I was afraid of making mistakes, so sometimes I preferred to stay quiet, But now I feel more comfortable. I can understand most of the things I read or listen to, and I don't need to translate all the time anymore. I can explain my ideas even if sometimes I don't find the exact word. And I also participate more in class, which for me is a big change. Of course, I know I still have things for improve. For example, I need to speak more fluently because I still stuff a lot when I talk. My pronunciation is not very good sometimes, and I have a trouble when I had to speak without preparing before. Also, complex grammar, I still get confused to be honest. But even with those difficulties, I'm happy with my progress. I can see that I understand more and I feel less stressed when I speak English. So yeah, I am not perfect, but I think I'm on it the right way. Okay, now for the four skills. I have developed my speaking, listening, reading, and writing through regular practice and using English in different contexts. My speaking has improved with presentation, recording assignments, speaking encounters, and conversations with AI. For listening, I have listening to songs, speeches, videos, and conversations. Reading books and other texts in English has helped me understand vocabulary through context, and writing assignments and reflection have helped me reorganize my ideas more clearly. So yeah, all four the skills has improved, but some more than others. Now, which skill has improved the most? For me, it's speaking definitely. During my degree, I have many opportunities to practice. I did presentations, recording assignments, speaking encounters starting in the second semester, and conversation with AI voice chat. I also use Giggleish, which is a role-playing application where you can practice conversation in different contexts. That was really helpful actually. So these experiences have helped me become less afraid of making mistakes. Now, even when I don't know the exact word, I can continue speaking instead of stopping completely. Before, I used to freeze when I didn't know a word, but now I try to explain the idea with other words. So that has a big challenge for me. Okay, which skill do I still need for strengthening? The answer is speaking fluency and pronunciation. My main difficulties are finding the words quickly while speaking, especially in spontaneous conversation. I also think too much about grammar, pause for too long, and have difficulty pronouncing unfamiliar words. Another problem is that I felt nervous when I had to speak without preparing my answers before. So to work this, I have participated conversation recording myself, read aloud, listening to English, and used AI tools for the speaking practice. I also try to learn vocabulary through songs, books, and videos because I think that is more natural for me. I don't like just memorizing a list of words. I know I need to keep practicing because fluency takes time, but I'm trying to be patient with myself. Now, how confident I feel communicating English? Well, it depends on the situation, honestly. In academic situations, I feel more confident. For example, I can participate in class activities, give presentations, and answers without feeling so nervous. I can also write assignments and discuss topics related to my degree. which is something that I couldn't do before. In everyday situations, I also feel comfortable. I can talk about hobbies like music or books, and I also about my studies or personal experience. I don't feel blocked when I have to say something about my life, and that makes me feel so good. But in professional situations, it's different. I still don't feel totally confident because I know that as a teacher, I will need to speak more clearly and fluently. I think I need more practice, especially with vocabulary related to teaching and speaking more naturally in front of others. So yeah, I'm okay in academic and social contexts, but I still have work to do in professional ones. I am not worried because I know I'm improving, but I am not ready yet for that level. So, what strategies have helped me improve? Let me tell you. The most important ones are learning vocabulary in context, speaking regularly, listening to authentic English, and using technology instead of only memorizing definitions. I learn words through songs, books, videos, and conversations. I also practice speaking rather than focusing only on grammar. Also, the resources from the course has been very useful. The OWASP has helped me to practice and understand the topics better. But what I really liked was the interaction with my classmates and the tutor during the speaking encounters. I think those spaces is very important because they give you the opportunity to practice in a more natural way. In my last semester, I really enjoyed that we worked with a specific topic about leadership. For me, that was very motivating because we were not just learning English, we are also learning about something interesting and meaningful. I think working with topics like that helps the motivation to keep learning because you are not just studying grammar, you are also learning about real things that matter. So when the content is interesting, it is easier to stay focused and want to keep practicing. So yeah, for me, combining technology, interaction with others, and meaningful topics has been the best way to improve my English. About technology, I use several resources outside the classroom. I use AI chat voice to practice conversation and improve my fluency. I also use Giglish for role-playing conversation in different contexts, and I also recorded myself speaking, which helped me identify pronunciation problems, pauses, and repeated words. All of these tools have been very helpful, honestly. They give you the chance to practice without feeling embarrassed. Now, how has English helped me as a future English teacher? Well, I have experienced nervousness when I speak in, difficulty with pronunciation, forgetting vocabulary, making grammar mistakes, and needed repetition and practice. Because of this, I have a better idea of how students may feel in an English class. So, as a teacher, I want to create a comfortable learning environment, give students time to practice, use different resources, encourage students to speak, and treat mistakes as a part of learning. I think that a teacher does these things, students feel more motivated and less afraid to participate, and that was what I want to do in the future. So all of this has made me think about the kind of teacher I want to be, and that leads me to the next question. So what qualities should a teacher develop to support students and learning English effectively? For me, I think an English teacher should be patient, empathic, creative, supportive, and adaptable. First, patience is important because students learn in different speeds. Some students learn fast, others need more time, and that's okay. Empathy is also important because many students can feel nervous or afraid of making mistakes. I know this because I felt that way too, so I think it's important to understand how they feel. A creative teacher can use songs, stories, videos, games, and technology to make learning more interesting. Not everyone likes the same things, so using different resources is a good idea. Also, teachers should create comfortable learning environment where the students feel safe to speak. They should give students time to practice, encourage them to speak, and treat mistakes as a part of learning, not as something bad. I think that when a teacher does these things, students feel more motivated and less afraid to participate. And that was what I want to do as a future teacher. Okay, now, what are my professional goals related to English? My main professional goal is to become a good English teacher. I want to improve my speaking fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, and listening skills so I can communicate confidently with my future students and colleges. After this course, I plan to keep English as a part of my weekly routine. I believe that learning English should be part of everyday life rather than something isolated from. It's not only about the number of activities we complete, it's about the time, consistency, and dedication we put into learning the language. For this reason, I plan to follow a routine that includes reading, listening, speaking, and writing throughout the week. I want to practice at least 3 times a week, as I have been doing. I will continue reading books and articles in English, listening to music, podcasts, and videos, participating in conversation with other people, recording myself, and writing short reflections about my learning. In the future, I would like to have more real conversations and opportunities to use English outside the university because I think that is the best way to improve. My main goal is to make English a daily practice and gradually integrate it into my life as I continue developing as a future English teacher. Now, about my routine, I practice at least 3 times a week. I read books and articles, listen to music and podcasts, practice conversation, record myself, and write short reflections. For me, consistency is more important than doing a lot in one day. It's better to practice a little every week than to practice a lot once and then stop. So my advice for someone who is just beginning English is start using English from the beginning, even if you make mistakes. Don't wait until you are perfect. Find activities you actually enjoy, practice a little every day, and don't depend only on translation. For me, finding content that is meaningful and that helps me grow as a person has been very important. It's not just about learning words, it's about learning things that matter to you. Progress takes time, so be patient with yourself. Focus on communicating and learning from your mistakes instead of trying to speak perfectly. That was what I've been learning. So, to finish, I have to become more confident using my English and more aware of what I still need to improve. My goal now is to keep practicing and continue growing as a future English teacher. I have learned that learning English is not just about the language, but also about finding content that helps me grow as a person. When the content is meaningful, that is easier to stay motivated and keep learning. So, that's all. Thank you for listening to me. See you next time.